together and kind of give it an environment in which that can sort of start going somewhere. We've both been based in Manchester for several years now, but in 2007 we took some time out, went to Berlin. We'd been full-time employed in Manchester and doing our creative stuff on the side, and we decided we wanted to try and pursue creative stuff, so we went to Berlin and came back very poor with no money whatsoever. So we moved in with a friend in a ex-council high-rise in Kew. He very, very kindly put us up for next to nothing. And within a couple of weeks, basically, had a brief for our first sort of art council application based on this block of flats. The inspiration mainly being the general kind of preconceptions people have about buildings, social housing, high-rise blocks, council high-rise blocks built in this era. It's not to say everybody has that opinion, but there is a general idea, especially in the media or in entertainment, film, documentaries, a certain spin that's put on buildings like this. And our experience was so far away from that spin that we thought it was a bit unjust, and we wanted to do something that would maybe challenge that a little bit. So we put together an exhibition that included a short film which we made with a stills camera, which sort of shoots video as well as stills, photographic series of portraits of the residents of the building which are caught in our film, some archive images of the building and some blueprints. And what we did was we got extra funding to renovate the old laundry room of the high-rise into an art gallery, and we hosted a preview night in that space and invited local arts crowd, local audience, as well as the in-house residents into the building to sort of for this premiere night. And we managed to get over 150 people through the door that night, and it was a really, really, really energetic, lively, very diverse sort of evening, which is exactly what we wanted on paper, which was great, and a fantastic environment for us to show this bit of work. So also, as part of the exhibition, we had a little 60s telly set up with some footage that we're about to show you now, which was from 1965. The day that Hornchurch Court, this block, actually opened, the Lord Mayor turned up. He opened it because it was exciting times, and these buildings were seen as icons for modern living and this new idea of utopia and this kind of way of living. So ironically, this building actually was filmed because of that very notion on the day it was open. So we've got that piece of footage to show you now, and then John will go on to introduce our film.
As Hive Manchester boldly tackles the housing shortage. New and quick methods have been used to overtake the backlog, with the result that a 13-story building was put up in only 18 weeks. As the sector system can be used for blocks up to 25 stories high, it's ideal for flats. The Lord Mayor and Lady Mayors of Manchester came for the opening ceremony at Marking the Lounge here, a little over 18 feet by 11. The block contains 51 two-bedroom flats, 12 for single people. Heating is by ducted warm air. The double-glazed windows swing over for easy cleaning. The kitchen of this flat has gas for the fridge and the cooker, but if tenants prefer electricity, they can have it. By the end of August, the contractors will hand over to the corporation another 2 blocks of the same kind. Ground floor level is the tenant's laundry, with tumbler dryers and automatic washing machines. The all-round convenience of Hornchurch Court should make a lot of tenants happy and satisfied.
We have to love British pathway, although I do think the cameraman was drunk at the time. We've got slightly less shake, I think. But yeah, we moved into this block and decided that we wanted to do something about the architecture. I think 1960s concrete, brutalist architecture gets a bit of a hard name, and we wanted to change conception about that and preserve this piece of architecture for the future, because there's about to be £1 million spent on it to cover it in something probably a little more pretty and a little less 60s. So we wanted to preserve it as it was visually, but also to preserve the culture and community that goes on there. A lot of the high density living that was put up for the 60s was in sink estates, and they didn't really work, so they were sort of broad brush classed as failures. This is right on the edge of the city. It's social housing, and I think it's really important that social housing stays within a city area, and we can walk into town in 5 minutes and there's people who live there that are part of the city, and I think it's really dangerous to get rid of these buildings because of the diversity of society that you will get within a cityscape if you do that. The other thing that we've done is sort of try to push the pivotal role of the caretaker. We have an amazing caretaker called Patrick, who is a crazy Jamaican guy who is so proud of his building and looks after us all immensely, and I think the role of concierge caretakers within high density blocks is absolutely pivotal to their success, and which is why blocks like the Crescents didn't work in Hume, and maintenance obviously, but we are now under City South Manchester Housing Trust, and they are spending an awful lot of money on preserving and maintaining this building. Whether it's to our taste, we will see, but at least they're preserving it and not knocking it down. Visually, what you've just seen inside the flats, that's all you get to see inside the flats. This is very much about looking at what you already know as an outsider and listening to what you're being told by the residents. So visually, you might almost get a little bit frustrated because we've done that intentionally to make you look again, basically, whilst listening to what the residents have to say. So I hope you enjoy it.
Just on that note as well, I was just going to say, just adding to what Jan just said about the caretaker, and just remember it's actually in the first film there about another 2 blocks exactly the same. That's true, there are 2 identical blocks within a mile radius of Hornchurch Court, and they're nothing like Hornchurch Court. Residents in those other 2 blocks want to be in Hornchurch Court, so architecturally they are identical, but they're completely different environments, and it's because Hornchurch Court is being managed and maintained by someone who does a really, really, really good job, and he's being paid to do that, and we just thought it was an interesting thing to look at, you know, spending money on people and where status is placed. Patrick isn't a caretaker, he's a building manager, and maybe more time was taken over recruiting building managers or caretakers and more care and attention given to that role. In the long term, it would be far more financially viable, and it would create far better communities, and people have far less complaints and they're happier for it, which surely in the long run is the best case scenario all around.